Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this program this afternoon. This ASFI research tips and tricks, and this is the second edition we are having this year. We'll be discussing within the next 1 hour around issues of the differences between qualitative and quantitative research, and trying to highlight the issues we still face. So welcome. Everyone is muted on entering, so that we will avoid so much noise, because this is being recorded. So welcome. Use the chat box, please, to introduce yourselves, if you have not done so. All right, so my name is Nwaru, and I am the convener of this forum, and this is the second edition of Dr. Nwaru's research tips and tricks. As we go through, please, if you have any question to ask along the process, just raise your hand where necessary, or put your comments on the chat box, and we'll try to address them. All right, let's go on. The first thing I would like to do is to give you a poll, a short poll, to get us started. This will be hands-on, so that you can contribute to what is happening here as well. Yeah, let me get some people in here who are joining, and then we can go to the poll. All right, so Eman is in the house. Eman will be helping me to admit the people so that I can really focus on this. So that is why there are some breaks trying to get people into the forum. If you are just joining us, we've just started, and the next thing I would like to do is to show a poll to you. It will appear on your screen, so please vote the poll as you find it, so that we can. It takes. I will give you just a minute to do that, and then we'll move on. So let me launch it. It's coming on your screen now. So it is showing now. So please vote the poll. All right. I guess we're almost there. If you have not voted, many people have not voted. I can see that many of you have not voted. Please vote on the poll in front of you. Vote the poll in front of you so that we can get started. Many of you have not voted. So please do that. You can't be passive here, trust me. Vote the poll, please. Okay, let me end the poll and then we'll move on. You can see the results. I have shared the results in front of you and what the result tells. So the first one,
results are not
qualitative.
sharing, Bright.
The results are not sharing.
Yeah.
Goodness me, it's sharing. I'm not sure why it's not sharing at your end. Everybody having the same problem. Yeah, and most people said they are seeing the results. So perhaps it's from your end. All right, so what happens here is the first question is qualitative versus quantitative research. Which one do you prefer? And majority of people said that they prefer using both, prefer both. And which one do you use? The same majority of people say they use both. The third one is which one is better? Each is good in its own right, depending on the research topic. Great, great, great. All right, so it really means that we don't have issues with this, is it? Okay, so I close this. That is great. It's very encouraging to see the result. Now, the next thing I will do, I want to send you to breakout rooms, and I'm giving you 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm going to give each group, I will share you into 4 groups. Each group will answer these questions, this question in front of you. So please take a picture of this as you go to your group to discuss these questions, okay? They are vague, but I would like you to think about it, meditate upon it. And when you come back, I will give each group 1.5 minutes to tell us what they have discussed. So each group should appoint somebody to represent that group. All right, so when you come, know that everyone is muted. If you want to speak when you come back, just raise your hand. I will recognize you, and then I will I will get you in. All right, so now I create that, join your group. 10 minutes, I'll call you back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's go straight to the business. Group 1, who is speaking for you? Just raise your hand and I will unmute you. Group 1, who is speaking for you? Let's do this quickly. Group 1, who is speaking for Group 1? Nobody. Okay, let's go to Group 2. Who is speaking for Group 2? Raise your hand. Use the raise hand. All right, Ifan is speaking for Group 2, I assume, is it? Ifan, you can unmute yourself now.
Okay. Good afternoon,
group are you
everyone.
speaking for?
Group 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, in Group 2, we're answering on the second question, which is the reason why we do research. Okay, we said, well, we do have so many reasons of doing research, of conducting research, which one of them is to find solutions to pressing problems, 2, to get new knowledge, 3 to fill up a knowledge gap, and examine a phenomenon that will guide us to clinical decisions, 4, to grow our careers, 5, to uncover novel things, and finally, to translate the things into practical decisions that will help to better our environment.
Great, thanks very much. Thanks very much. Okay, who is representing Group 3? Group 3. Let me stop sharing and see this clearly. Sanka, are you representing Group 3? Sanka, you can unmute yourself. I will give you permission to unmute yourself. Amane, are you representing Group 3?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what we have, our question it was concerning the steps for research.
It's 14.
So what we have here in summary is that the first step to do research is to identify the research problem. And the second is to formulate the question of the research to do, which will help you to know what type of research you want to do, either quantitative or qualitative, or whatever you choose to do. So the third one is to conduct the research itself, which means you have to design the questions, submit a proposal, so implement the proposal and execute everything that you decide to do, which means you need to collect the data, analyze it, and then find some results that you should report or publish. So that's what we have in our group. I don't know
Thank you very much.
If I
Thank you very much,
reported correctly. No problem.
Yes, it's fantastic. Within 10 minutes, I think this is fantastic. Okay, if you stop sharing, that would be great. Let me see.
Thank you.
Who is speaking for group 4? Raise your hand, please. Christopher, can you raise your hand? You're sharing, but you need to raise your hand so I can unmute you, otherwise you can't speak. Christopher, you can unmute yourself now and speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just trying to look for the raise hand
Go
button.
ahead.
But thank
Go
you very
ahead.
much. Yeah. So
Yes,
this
yes.
is for group 4. How do we do research? So the first.
How should you?
How should you do research? So the
Group
first is to
3.
determine.
Group 3 was how do you. Now group 4 is how should you. So you know there is a difference in that. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first is to determine the research question, followed by scooping the literature to find out what has been done already related to what we intend to research about. Then generate a research objective, develop a hypothesis, and then determine what kind of data do we even need? How do we collect the data? And then this will give an idea of how to design the research in terms of the methodology. And then, of course, the sample population that will help us meet the objective. Now, there's the last one there based on inductive and deductive inferencing of what the research result is. We're trying to flesh that out before the time run out, but this is just a sketch of what we discussed.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so you are actually in agreement with what group 3 presented. How do you do it? How should you do it? Okay, I think this can be point of discussion in going forward in your groups. Are there laid down principles or processes to do that? And how do you yourself do this research? So why are we here today? We have had the poll. You have voted. The first one started by which one you prefer, qualitative and quantitative. Which one do you use, qualitative or quantitative? Which one is better, qualitative or quantitative? And those who are not here, actually, the options given, for instance, I prefer qualitative, I prefer quantitative, or I prefer both. People fell in each of these categories, okay? And that is one of the reasons why we're here today, because within the programs we have had in the almost 2 years now, ASFI, we have come in contact with people who say, well, I am a qualitative researcher, I'm not a quantitative person. Some people will even go to the extent to say that I don't like qualitative research, I like quantitative. And there are some debates that have also been there, heated debates, you know, not throwing the fist, but people get into heated debate to condemn qualitative or quantitative. But why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? In my opinion, And as I will highlight, try to convince you this afternoon, many times where we engage in those arguments is that we don't even know the reason why we do research. That is one. We don't know the reason why we do research. The second thing is perhaps that we don't know how we should do research. And the third thing is that we don't know how we do research. And so these are fundamental issues. These are fundamental issues because once we get into making a dichotomy and making preferences, making statement of criticism or condemning, then we go to the point, I think, that we are having a very, sorry to say, shallow mind of what research is all about and why we should be doing it. Okay, let me go to tell you that this is my own definition. You may agree, you may not agree. But if you agree with this definition, just give a thumbs up. If you don't agree, just give a thumbs down. We'll see how we go at the end of this presentation. But I believe that research is an apparatus. It can be a tool, it can be a medium to observe and investigate our planet and its content in order to, provide solutions to our everyday life. There should be provided there. Okay? It's an apparatus. It's a tool we use to understand our world, to make sense of the things we see, and to use this world, the things we see in this world, to provide solutions to our everyday living. During the last tips and tricks, I presented this, and those of you who have been following us, you know that I like using this. It's a UNESCO mantra that defines research as in this way. For it to be relevant, it must ensure that it provides opportunities for us to have longer and healthier life. For us to have medicine to cure our diseases, water to quench our thirst, help us to grow our foods, energy, make life fun. If the research we do does not fall within this fair basic needs of humanity, then we need to ask ourselves, what are we actually doing? Okay, so research is that tool that helps us to understand our world. Okay, before I continue, just to make an announcement, Eman is putting some links on the chat box. For those who do not know, links to our YouTube channel, please check it out there and take it up. We have several things we have done in the last 2 years you can benefit from. And for those who are just joining us for the first time, this is the first time you're hearing about ASFI, and you think that we don't have your email address and you want to be part of our mailing list to get this information of the things we do, please kindly put your email address on the chat box, and please write it carefully, because many times people write it wrongly and they don't get that information. We have many that. So please, if you believe we don't have your email and you don't receive email from us, put your email address on the chat box and we will pick it up and include you on our email list. So let's go back to the presentation. Research is important, and we have emphasized that continuously across every society. Research is important. We are all born into this world. And when you are born into this world, you start from where everyone starts, to make observations that will help you understand the world. And through that understanding, you can formulate solutions to solve your own immediate problems and to the problems of the larger society. That is why we do research. And then in general, the research we do has been divided into two perspectives: qualitative research, quantitative research. And as you can see from this slide, the way or the processes the qualitative research used to make its observations and investigations, and the way quantitative research makes its observation and its investigations. Okay. One thing is that regardless of what perspective you are taking, it is not a matter of preference. And I want to emphasize that it's not a matter of preference. Each of these is there to help us understand our world. That is what research is all about. And so, certain things can be quantified. Certain things we see in our world can be quantified. But we have to face the reality that not everything can be quantified. And until you understand that this is a reality that exists across every nation, generation, you would continue to engage in that argument of qualitative or quantitative. And whether they can be quantified or they cannot be quantified, we also have to face the reality that they are all important and they need to be understood in their own right. That is very important to know. And so you go to your research group and then you recruit people and you say, what are you doing? I'm doing focus group. Then you shouldn't be, well, I'm not sure. No, because it is important. Somebody is using ethnographic processes. It is important. Somebody is doing literature review. These are all important things to understand the phenomenon we are interested in the world. And the reason is that not all of these can be quantified in numbers. But on the other hand, we have to also face the reality that it is not everything you can just give theoretical meaning. We need them to be in numbers to understand them. Okay? If you want to understand how many people COVID has affected or killed, it is important to have them in numbers. But if you want to understand the experiences of people or families that have been affected, those you can't quantify those in numbers. We need to appreciate that the qualitative research perspective has a tool through which we can understand those experiences that are important for us. Okay? Let me move. Conceptual differences. Qualitative research is concerned with understanding human behavior from the informant perspective. Okay? While quantitative is concerned with discovering facts about social phenomena, for instance. So, informant perspective is important. And increasingly, for those who work in the clinical setting, it is not sufficient that a patient comes to you and you prescribe medication and say, well, this will help you, go. Increasingly, we are interested in knowing, how does the medication affect you? How does the disease affect you? Happiness is important. Quality of life is important. It is not sufficient that the medication has taken the biological agent that affects you. If we continue to do that, we limit complex human life to just cells and what affects the cells. The experiences that generate from these processes are important to know. So the informant perspective is important. It's dynamic, and we need to integrate it in whatever we do. I have a project I'm running currently, and one of the key questions I have in that project is, how much does the public understand what I do as a researcher? How much does the public? And that goes across many research groups. And the answer is that the public really knows so much, because we do our research, we write our papers, and we publish that. And the story ends there in many cases. But on the other hand, in this part of the world, the public is the one that is providing the data we use. The public is the one that is funding the research. So by right, the public needs to understand what we do. And so there should be a feedback framework in which the researchers do what they do, regardless of how complex it is, but provide a platform in which they can feed back to the public to say, well, you gave us your data, you gave us your money, this is what we have found. So in this project I'm involved now doing, this is one of the key questions I'm trying to address, to see how as a researcher, I can feed back my findings to the understanding of the general public. And that process of translation from the complex scientific phenomenon I'm dealing with to what the public can understand is not trivial. And so in doing that, I have to employ a qualitative researcher who can make assessment and conduct, for instance, a focus group, interview people who contribute data. What do you want? Do you understand what they're saying? No. Then we'll find a way to try to communicate that. And so in my group, as purely or primarily a quantitative researcher, I increasingly appreciate the skill that the qualitative researchers bring to my context in order to help me to bridge this gap that exists between me and those who are actually custodians of what I do. So it's very important. So these differences are there. The perspective, the conceptual differences that exist between qualitative and quantitative research. And once we begin to understand the role they play, we begin to appreciate them more, and the heated debate we engage in, I believe we begin to minimize. Okay, this is something, in addition, qualitative research explains attitudes and behaviors, for instance, of the market in detail, generates verbal information to understand opinions and motivations, okay? It can be done with open questions, observations, focus group, among others. It can provide a deeper understanding of the object of study. While quantitative research is ideal for discovering who, what, when, and where, generates numerical data to get effective statistics, is done through surveys or data collection techniques, provide hard data and useful information for making business decisions. And the question is, are each of them important? Absolutely so. Which of them is more important? That is not a question. Is it? Perhaps for some people, but really, our world is complex. The phenomenon we study is complex. And so many times numbers will not be suitable. We need to understand the intricacies that make up those phenomena. And once we do that, we appreciate what each of these brings to the table. All right, this is an example. Quantitative methods can express things like this. Only 1 in 30 take the free ice cream. Interesting. Okay, this person is selling ice cream, and this person is now giving interpretation or quantifying how many people are taking this ice cream. And qualitative, what did you feel when you saw the free ice cream? Excited, a little scared. And why was that? You can understand that. Goodness me, this is important. This you have expressed here is important fact. This you are expressing here also is an important fact. You can't ignore that. Otherwise, if this kind goes and recruits many of his kind, this number may reduce too, because many will be scared. Why is it free? Well, I hope you understand the point I'm making. All right, some examples again. Use numbers, use averages, and here I bought the ice cream because I saw it when I was in the checkout line. I wanted to treat myself. But this number here does not tell the story. Is this story important? Yes, motivations are important. And you can see marketers are genius. They integrate this in. You go to the internet and you begin to search. Okay, you don't know there's a big brother watching you. He's not on your back. He's in the same computer you're trying to do something, or you're doing something that is not nice. You're trying to hide it. But you know, these guys are there studying your behavior, the site you visit, your preferences. And next time you come to the computer and you see something pops up, maybe from Amazon. Will you like this? Will you like that? I don't know. There is a machine learning algorithm that has been implemented using this approach here to try to capture what interests you. Okay, that's why I say that marketers are genius. All right. Research can be mixed. Research can be mixed. And for those who feel mixed in the survey, I think it was good that you did that. So you can mix qualitative and quantitative approach. You can mix them in order to generate, I believe, a comprehensive perspective to what you're doing. So mixed method is a research approach whereby researchers collect and analyze both quantitative and qualitative data within the same study. And perhaps many of you are already doing that. So increasingly, there is that understanding that the dichotomy we make is not really relevant. We can join hands together. I've been doing that for about a decade now. And we need to appreciate that you can combine both of these methods. Okay, now let me take you to the second poll. We have done the first one. Let's go to the second one now. I will open it and let me, sorry, you just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. All right, let me get it. All right, so let me launch the poll. So please take a few seconds, just click the button. This one is just one question. Let's see. And please know that I know how many people have voted. You are currently 172 people on this call now. Make sure you're voting. Quantitative versus qualitative research. Which one is better? It should be better. Oh, I have too much grammatical errors. But I know you can understand. For those who are joining now, if you have not been receiving emails from us, this is your first time, and you want to join our email list, please put your email on the chat box. We'll pick it up and we will be in touch. Okay, let me end the poll and share the results, and let's see what you have there. Let's see what you have there. All right. So it means that I have been able to shift some people. That's good. Or no, not me. You have been able to acclimatize or appreciated the point of view of what research is, and the fact that when we get out there to do research, our goal is to use the appropriate methods to get the fact that we are interested in. All right, so that is great. I see that some people are still pushing on here. 5 people here, but I like these places. All right. So I'm coming to the conclusion. You know, this is tips and tricks. It puts you in the pedestal of going to think about these things, not just thinking about it. I would like a situation where you get to your research institute and you begin to generate discussions. You begin to build bridges. You begin to make reconciliations. Well, I have thought about this like this before, but I see that you are actually very useful for me. We can work hand in hand. So what is the way forward? The way forward is not to ask the question, which one is better? Don't ask that question, because it is not a good question to ask. The way forward is not to say what I'm doing is more important to the other than the other. No, you can't say that. I think the way forward is to say which of these 2 research approaches is relevant to my research question. I believe you all agree to that. If you don't agree, please. If you agree, just give a thumbs up, because you can't speak. I have loved you not to speak. But if you don't agree, yeah, I see many people are saying thumbs up. Great. Yeah, you have questions. All right, we'll come to that if you have some time. So this is what I believe we should be asking, and not, we should be asking this and not this. And for us as Africans, if we want to make headway, we really need to understand some of the things that affect us. We are cultural people, we are religious people, and many of these phenomena I just mentioned now cannot be quantified by numbers. You have to appreciate that. It goes to the point of building a bridge in a village. Okay? As a scientist, you think that you have the answers. You go there, you put things up there, you make your calculation, and after 2 weeks, the bridge is broken down because you have not taken into account that these people have experiences that they want to voice out. And you need to listen to those experiences. If you listen to those experiences and you integrate them into what you do, next time build that bridge, and it stays because your perspective is appreciated. All right, that is where I end it. we are planning to have our next seminar series on the 27th of March, but there is a doubt. We'll confirm that after the weekend to know if this is going on, because the speaker we have invited is unfortunately indisposed, and let's see what happens. We'll come back to you on that, and know whether we are able to still hold that. Yeah. Now, our next course will come out to you tomorrow evening. Watch out! Watch out! If you have not been attending our courses, you want to start with this. We'll call for applications starting from tomorrow evening, so that you can make your application. One thing is, sorry, this is 13th. So this is the Easter. I will correct that. This is the Easter holiday period. So it will go from before the weekend, I think 3 days before the weekend and 2 days after the weekend. Okay, so that people can have time to. This course usually comes in May, but we're bringing it in April earlier because the May is already a full month for us. So the application will open tomorrow evening. Please apply when you get the information. Then our next edition of the tips and tricks will come on the 22nd of April. And watch out the time, because those of us in Europe here, the summertime will take place. And so it will be 1 to 2 p.m. GMT. And that will be discussing who should be an author in a scientific paper. Many things are happening out there. And for some of you who attended our last course, reproducibility, you can see some of the things happening. And so let's come up and discuss that. And I hope you will be able to join us. All right, let me unmute and allow you to unmute yourself. And if you have any, I see some people raising their hands. If you have any quick, yeah, I have Oscar. Oscar, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Oscar, we don't hear you. Can be snappy. Our time is up. Oscar, we don't hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Doc.
Yes, Oscar, yeah, speak to your mic. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to ask this question. In a situation whereby what the student is doing is full of qualitative research, not quantitative research, but there is open-ended question within the instrument that he's picking the responses from. Does those open-ended question amounts that the project he's doing is a mixed method?
Well, when you're doing qualitative or quantitative or mixed method, you design it that way from the beginning. Okay. So that has to be clear, and that is why group 3 and group 4 presented. When you know your research question, then you formulate the approach you're going to use. So you have to define it from that. It's not just defined by having an open-ended question in your question, and then you define whether it's a mixed method or qualitative research or not. You have to define that from the question you are going to do. If it's a mixed method, then you design it as a mixed method from the beginning. And what it means is that some will be collected by questionnaire, and some you may get it from focus group discussion. Okay, not just defined by some. And if you have open-ended question in a questionnaire, I can actually analyze them quantitatively. So it's not defined just by a question on them. But I think if you have your group leaders, they can help you to do that. Then they will know the specific scenario you're talking about. All right, I have
Thank
Jimmy. Jimmy.
Yes, hello, Doc. Yes. I just want to find out the difference between focus group discussion and stakeholder engagement.
Goodness me. Whew. Is there somebody who is a pure qualitative research to help me out here? Because the last one Jimmy asked, I have not heard about that before, so I don't want to really say something. Stakeholders engagement, that is a big one.
Yeah,
Can I say something?
Someone
Can
gave the
I say
answer
something
in the chat.
right?
Oh goodness me! Raise your hand. Raise your. Please. Let's be good here. Raise your hand if you want to speak. Raise your hand. Okay, I have Olabishi here. Olabishi, want to speak? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I want to say stakeholders engagement has to do with you entering a community for a study. It is not one of the things you use in taking data when you have to do a qualitative research. Focus group discussion, interviews, and all of that, and ethnography can be used to collect data, but not stakeholders engagement. Stakeholders engagement is entering the community, going to the people that matter to be able to enter to take the data. Thank you, Anobi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have Ifani here, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I beg to disagree a little from the last response. In some research, in some studies, you can still use stakeholders to obtain information. For example, KII, key informant interview. Some have been assigned to stakeholders. This is also a means of generating data. Whereas the other, and then the focus group is more like an individual opinion concerning a subject, a research question, in a given set or the survey environment or survey area.
All right, thanks very much, Ifani. So I have Grace Udonye, and after Grace, let me see who next I can call. I have Bernard, and then our time is fast spent. Let's call it a day after that. Okay, Grace, please unmute yourself and speak. Grace is not speaking. Okay, Bernard, are free here.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. My submission is in relation to the difference between the stakeholder engagement and then the focus group discussion. I think that most of the time researchers get it wrong. When you are using a focus group discussion, you want to find out the group dynamics, what is happening at a society level, not individual level. So for instance, if something is happening in a community, you can go there and then bring gatekeepers together as a group and then discuss the issue at the community level. Now, stakeholder analysis or engagement can be that you can have a one-to-one conversation, what we call in-depth interview, with people who are at the policy or at the stakeholders level to also help you to understand the issues. So focus group discussion is not at the individual level. The emphasis is at the community or what is happening at the macro level. If you want to know what is happening at the individual level, then you go by the in-depth interviews. That is the one-to-one conversation.
All right, thanks very much. And sorry for those who still raising their hand. We can't take more. Our time is fast spent. We want to give you 1 hour. I want to keep to that 1 hour. Thank you for coming, and we wish you a very lovely weekend.